Let's be honest. If you think you need to wait until the third, fourth, or even fifth date to have sex, you're the victim of misinformation or manipulation. You've probably been told that women don't want to have sex, that we're waiting for some emotional connection first. The truth is, we do want to have sex. We just don't want to have it with someone who bores the hell out of us. And that's what most of you are doing when your dates feel like interviews. Predictable, polite, and completely forgettable. If she's beautiful, she's been on a date like this 20 times this month alone. So let's fix that. Let's make your first dates exciting. The kind of dates that will make her want to see you again. And yes, invite you upstairs. I'm Dr. Emma Blake, your trusted men's health advisor. Here's what we're covering today. First, why most first dates are dead on arrival, and the 2 strategies that wake her the hell up. Then, how to read the woman in front of you so you're not treating a sophisticated city woman the same as a small town girl. And finally, the physical contact framework that builds sexual tension without making you look like a creep. Missing the first part means you'll never understand why she's not responding. And that's why most guys fail. Hit that subscribe button because what we're covering today is based on actual female psychology, not the sanitized advice you've been fed by relationship gurus who've never dated a woman. Let's start with why most first dates fail before they even begin. Most men are stuck in the same loop. Same bar, same restaurant, same conversation. You need to wake her the hell up, and you can do it 2 ways. Go big or go opposite. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Going big means inviting her to a place where she normally wouldn't have access. Maybe it's a hidden rooftop bar with a view of the entire city. Maybe it's tickets to a concert she mentioned wanting to see. Maybe it's a private cooking class where you're both making pasta from scratch. Think about what makes her say, wow, when she tells her friends about it the next day. Here's a real example. A guy I know took a woman to an underground speakeasy that required a password to get in. The entire entrance was disguised as a phone booth. When they walked through, she felt like she was in a spy movie. He dressed sharp, brought flowers, and made sure the entire date felt like a movie scene. That woman told me later she was thinking about sleeping with him before they even ordered drinks. Or go opposite. Do something absolutely unexpected that flips the script entirely. I once went on a date with this guy who knew I'd been used to luxury. 5 stars, glitz and glam, whatever. So he took me to a car wash. Yeah, a car wash. And while we were sitting there, watching the foam and water, talking, flirting, smiling, it somehow turned out to be the hottest makeout session of my life. Then he drove me to a beautiful scenic spot, pulled out a basket with a little picnic prepared, and we were drinking wine, eating, watching the sunset. That was magical, and it cost him almost nothing. But wait, there's something else happening here that most men miss completely. To do something like this, you don't need money. You need imagination and balls. Let me give you more examples of opposite strategy dates that worked. One guy took a woman miniature golfing, followed by ice cream. Sounds juvenile, right? But she was a high-powered attorney who spent 12 hours a day in serious meetings. For her, being playful and ridiculous was the opposite of her normal. She told me later that watching him celebrate like a child when he got a hole-in-one made her want to rip his clothes off. Another guy took a woman to a dive bar with a mechanical bull. They took shots, rode the bull, laughed their asses off, and ended up back at his place 3 hours later. The key? She was used to guys trying to impress her with expensive dinners. He impressed her by not giving a damn about impressing her. Here's what most men don't do, and this is critical. They don't read the woman in front of them. You can't treat all women the same. For a small town girl, you take her out for a nice dinner at a luxury place and she's already impressed. But what if she's seen everything already? Then having the same dinner at the same luxury place is just boring. Most guys think nice restaurant is the safe play. But here's the thing most men don't realize about safe plays. They're forgettable. Ask yourself, what's her normal? And then you either go one way above it or completely flip it upside down. That's how you surprise her. That's how you really make an impression. Let me give you a framework for reading her. If she mentions she grew up in a small town or she's new to the city, traditional impressive works. Take her somewhere with white tablecloths and good wine. If she talks about her career constantly and seems high-strung, give her permission to be silly. Take her somewhere playful where she can let loose. If she mentions she's been on a million boring dates, do something so unexpected she has no reference point. Take her to a pottery class, a shooting range, or a comedy open mic night. You want to know where 90% of guys screw it up? I'll tell you. It's physical contact. You're afraid of looking like a creep, so you don't touch her at all. And you sit there all stiff, overthinking everything, waiting for some magical green light from her, which never comes. And she feels it. When you act scared, she knows you don't have it. And this is where it gets critical. Here's what to do instead. Touch her early, naturally, and intentionally. For example, you're talking about something, and then you grab her hand and start teasing her about her nails or her rings, maybe her watch, something. Then when you're laughing together, casually brush her arm. If you see that a piece of her hair went wild, just fix it like you've always done it. Like that's the most natural thing to do for you. Keep this in mind because it connects directly to how women assess confidence. If she's smiling, then touch her knee for a second and then pull back and keep watching her reaction. Not like you're waiting for permission or something, just naturally. If she's not okay with it, you'll see it immediately. Believe me. Let me clear up a massive misunderstanding about physical contact. Most guys think they need explicit verbal permission before every touch. That's not how sexual tension works, because if you do it right, it stops being about her giving you the green light. It's about you setting the tone. You're pretty much telling her, okay, this is my speed. Can you keep up? Here's a perfect example. There's this moment in the Pam and Tommy TV show when Tommy Lee meets Pamela Anderson for the first time. And he's just so turned on and excited to meet her that he licks her face. Yeah. And she's all like, wow, what just happened? She's stunned for a second, and then she does the same, and it's just such a vibe check. They're happy. They're laughing. They're flirting. They're obviously crazy about each other. That's what happens when the man sets the tone. Me telling you this doesn't mean you have to run around licking strangers. Yeah, please don't do that. But what it means is that you don't have to wait for her to give you permission to be who you are, to be a man. Let me give you more practical examples of natural touch progression. When you're walking to the bar or restaurant, guide her with your hand on the small of her back. When you're sitting next to each other, and you should always sit next to each other, not across, let your legs touch. When she says something funny, put your hand on her thigh while you laugh. Hold the contact for 2 seconds, then remove it. Here's another one. If you're at a bar and it's loud, lean in close to talk to her. Close enough that your cheek almost brushes hers. Close enough that she can feel your breath. Then pull back and maintain eye contact. That moment creates more sexual tension than an entire hour of polite conversation. Now here's where communication becomes absolutely critical. The question shouldn't be, will she let me? The question is, am I cool enough for her to want to match me? That's what gets her excited. Not what restaurant you picked, but that moment when you were alive and made her feel alive too. That's why I created the Desire Playbook, 20 best sexual questions to ask a woman. These questions help you discover what actually turns her on, not what you think should turn her on. You'll find it linked in the description below, completely free. Let me explain what happens after you've broken the pattern, read her correctly, and established physical contact. This is when most guys either close the deal or blow it entirely. The key is maintaining the energy without trying too hard. Don't suddenly become a different person. Don't start acting more polite or careful. That tells her you're scared of what might happen next. Instead, keep the playfulness going. If the date is going well and it's getting late, suggest something simple. Want to come back to my place for a drink? Don't make it a big deal. Don't apologize for asking. Just ask naturally, like it's the obvious next step, because it is. If she says no, don't get weird about it. Just say, cool, let's do this again soon, and end the date on a high note. But here's what I've noticed. When you've done everything right up to this point, she rarely says no. Because you've already shown her you're different from every other guy she's dated this month. Here's the bottom line. Making a first date a panty dropper isn't about tricks. It's about showing her you've got something most men don't: confidence and the balls to take a risk. When you break the pattern with an unexpected date, when you read her and calibrate to what she actually needs, and when you touch her naturally without waiting for permission, you create the conditions for sexual tension that makes her want you. Try this approach on your next first date. Either go big with something impressive she's never experienced, or go opposite with something unexpected that flips her world upside down. Touch her hand when you're talking. Brush her arm when you're laughing. Fix her hair like it's the most natural thing in the world. Watch how she responds and escalate from there. That's when you know it's working. If this completely changed how you think about first dates, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the most unexpected first date you've ever been on? Or what's the most creative date you've ever planned? I read every single one. Thanks for watching. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep taking care of yourself.